You know that feeling, right? That deep frustration when you try to teach your kid a lesson, you set a consequence, and then the very next day, it's like nothing ever happened. It just feels like you're hitting a brick wall. Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig into why for some kids, it's not about won't learn. It's that they actually can't just learn from consequences.
So you get stuck in this loop. You see a behavior, you do the thing that's supposed to work, and then boom, there's the exact same behavior again. It's this discipline dead end, and it can leave you feeling totally exhausted, just thinking, what am I even doing wrong here?
You can almost hear the sigh in these words, can't you? It's that feeling of having tried everything in the playbook. You know, the timeouts, losing screen time, taking away the favorite toy, and you're still completely stuck, right back where you started.
Yeah. If this whole cycle feels a little too real, you're definitely not alone. So the big question is, what actually breaks this loop?
Okay, so when you hit that wall, the breakthrough usually isn't about just trying harder with the same old tools. It actually comes from a totally new perspective, a real turning point that changes how you see the entire problem. And this turning point is not some new punishment or a stricter rule. Nope. It's a single insight, often from a professional, like a therapist, that just cracks the whole thing open by showing you what's really going on under the surface.
Let's just pause on that for a second. His brain doesn't connect cause and effect the same way. All of a sudden, this isn't about a kid being defiant or disrespectful anymore. It's about neurology. It's simply about the way a particular brain is wired.
And that one idea, well, it lets you do this incredibly important reframe. We get to move away from blaming the child for behavior and move toward understanding their brain. It's that huge, powerful shift from thinking he won't to finally understanding he can't.
And here's what that looks like. The old way feels so personal, right? He's ignoring me. But the new understanding, it's neurological. He literally can't hold on to the lesson. Once you make that switch, the blame just kind of melts away, and a door opens for a real solution. Because you can't punish a brain for how it's built.
This brings us to a really important concept, neurodivergent discipline. It's an entire approach built on this one idea, that what looks like bad behavior is often just a symptom. It's an external sign of a brain that just works differently. So the goal isn't to crush the behavior. It's to figure out what that behavior is trying to tell you.
So, if the old tools are out, what do you replace them with? Well, once you get that it's a brain difference, your whole strategy has to change. And this is where we shift from that old school correction to something new, something that actually works.
This is it. This is the practical change that comes from that mental shift. Everything changes when you stop trying to correct and start instead to coach with compassion. You're no longer just reacting to stuff that already happened, you're proactively building skills for what's coming next.
And here's what that really means day to day. Correction, right? It's all about the past mistake, the tool is punishment, and the only goal is to make the behavior stop. But coaching is all about the future. The tool is teaching, and the goal is so much bigger. It's to build real skills and true understanding. It's the difference between yelling, "Don't do that," and calmly asking, "Okay, what can we try differently next time?" See the difference?
Now we have to be real about this new path. This is not about finding some kind of easy button. It's about finding a better way, and that often takes a different kind of energy and a whole lot more patience.
This whole coaching approach, it isn't easier in the heat of the moment. It takes way more thought, more energy, more creativity from you, the adult. But here's the thing. The payoff is huge, because unlike all those old methods, it actually works. It's what creates real, lasting change.
And this isn't some fringe idea, you know? It's part of a huge, growing conversation. You see it in communities that focus on things like fetal alcohol spectrum disorders, or FASD, where brain-based differences are just a given. The message is always the same. Start with understanding and teach with compassion.
And you know, that's really the whole point, isn't it? It's about looking past the behavior to see the why behind it. That one thing traditional discipline almost always misses.
So let's just leave you with this idea to think about. What if we rewired our own approach? What if the true goal of discipline was never correction, but connection?
What if it's all about building a relationship that's strong enough to help a child learn the skills they need for life? What do you think might change then?